Alright, so this is going to be the review sheet 13 quick video, so hopefully you're watching it and hopefully you're getting something out of it. First problem here, we're just simplifying these. I don't think I need to talk about those. One step at a time, write PEMDAS. Do them on a separate sheet of paper though, please, because there's not enough space to get it in there, so please show it on a separate sheet of paper. Alright, next one here. This one is going to be a proportion. Okay, I'm just going to tell you that right now. This is more of a chapter 5 thing. So again, you can see how we're building into where chapter 5 is. So you always want to just kind of identify what is being compared. Alright, phone rang, sorry about that. So anyway, you always want to try to figure out what's being compared. And as you can see right here, this is what I would call your fake ratio. Okay, so that's what we've really been talking about. Now it might look a little bit different, but if it says each cap and it's giving you money, then you know that you're comparing caps to money, which means caps to money. Okay, and then that's your fake ratio, one cap for every $16.40. And then you're gonna have to take whatever information they give you, whether they give you, it's a little bit big, sorry, whether they give you a certain amount of caps and ask you how much money a certain amount of caps cost, or it could give you a certain amount of money and ask you about how many caps you need to buy, or that he did buy. Okay, so you'll have to work on that, but you should be using a proportion. All right, putting these least to greatest. You could draw a number line if you wanted to. If that would help you, you could if you wanted, put a number line on there, and if that helps you, you kind of know you can kind of put 0 right there, and then you could think, well, I know that that one would be the furthest one to the left, so that would be -3 over there, and you can do it that way too if that helps. But just know that when you get all the negatives on there, you can always put the positives. Remember how I taught you this early in the year where you kind of stack them up, so you got 7, then you got 9.85, and stack them up where you're lining up the place values or lining up the decimals. So 3.95, 0.3, and then 3.9, and then when you're trying to find the smallest one, you look for the smallest number in the ones place. So that's a strategy you can use. You don't have to use it. Okay. Next one, is finding GCF. Make sure you show work there. Got to show your trees and everything there, stacking them up. And then this, just do your best with it. See if you can try to kind of figure out what it's saying. Okay. If you multiply these two numbers together, that would mean these two numbers, and then divide that product, whatever you get after you multiply, by whatever you get as the GCF. Will that give you your LCM? So basically, what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to multiply 45 times 70. You're going to get something, and then you're going to divide it by the GCF, and then you're going to get something else. And basically, it's asking you, will that give you your LCM? That's what it's asking. Will that be your LCM right there? That's the whole point. So what are you going to have to do when you prove? You have to go up, and now you're going to have to find LCM in the way you know how, which means you're going to have to, you've already done your trees for 45 and 70. You've already stacked them. You already found your GCF. Now you just got to do that one additional step to find the LCM, and then you just got to see if these two are equal. And if they are, you proved it by doing this method that we explained to you, and then we also did it the way I taught you. Okay? All right. Here's one using unit rate. Okay, so you're going to have to do 2 different proportions here, just so you know. So you may as well get in the habit. If you don't have a proportion, it's going to be wrong. Okay, now we know that because it says use unit rate, we know we're talking about per 1, so we know that the 1's going to go there. Okay, now this right here is going to be my, hopefully you all know, fake ratio. Okay, that's your fake ratio. Okay, so when we're looking at this, we're going, okay, that's my fake ratio. I need to figure out what I need to find. Do I need to figure out per dollar or per hour? Well, because it gives you a real amount of hours, okay, because it gives you, we want to figure out per hour, so that if we can figure out per hour, we know we can just multiply it by 9 to figure out how much it's going to cost for 9 hours. So we're going to figure out the unit rate, the cost per hour. So your fake ratio is obviously going to go there. Then you're going to find how much it costs per hour for Mr. Edwards tutoring services. Okay? Then over here, you're going to take that unit rate, which is, I'll kind of make it look the same. It's going to be that same ratio as that one right there, as that one. These two are the same. Okay? You're just rewriting it. Now we're going to put hours and we're going to put money, but now we're not. What are we going to put here? We're going to put what we actually want to know, and that's 9 hours. So then we know we're multiplying by 9, multiplying by 9. Okay? So make sure you do it that way using the proportions though. Okay, you should know how to do this fake ratio here, figure out how much he charges per hour, then write the unit rate again, and then since you want to know 9 hours. Okay, here you can use a number line to help you if you need to. Biggest thing is just remember zero's got to be on there, so if you're going from negative 42 to 15, remember you got to go across 0, so you got to add. Remember, across 0 is add. Okay, so you'd add 42 and 15 for that one. If you are staying on one side of 0, like for instance, this isn't one of the questions, but let's say it was that, you would subtract to figure out the change in temperature from there to there. Okay? All right. These obviously need work. Some are different. You need to show all that. Okay? Check with a calculator. Here, you just got to figure out what you're doing to go from 42 to 14, and then you need to do the same thing. You need to figure out, okay, whatever this is, we've got to figure that out, so you got to work backwards. Okay, so you got to think, what could I divide by to this to give you 56? Same with this one. Figuring out what you're doing, so you got to do the same to 12. Okay, here, what are you doing to get to that? So it's all the same, just equivalent ratios or proportions. Okay, this one, since it specifically says deal per hour, I'm just going to tell you're going to need 2 proportions. Per hour, since it says per hour, you've got to make sure you do per hour. So over here is going to be Mr. Edwards. Over here is going to be Mrs. Allen. Okay, this right here is Mr. Edwards' fake ratio. This right here is Mrs. Allen's fake ratio. And you're going to have to put these on there. Hours is going to go on the bottom because it's per hour, per 1 hour. Okay, then you're going to figure out which teacher is cheaper right there. And then you're going to have to figure out how much you would save by using that particular teacher. Okay, the cheaper one. Okay, so again, I think you guys are pretty good at this by now. Okay, part to part, part to whole, I think those are pretty easy. Here you just got to turn that into a part to whole, those two. I think you can figure that one out. Next page. All right. Okay, this one, this is going to be just like the other ones. Right here, that is what I would call your fake ratio. That's your fake ratio. So now, if I know that it costs $152 for 4 jackets, I can, once I figure out this, now I can do anything. I can look at this and I can say, oh, what am I doing? If I want to figure out the cost of 1 jacket, I can divide 4 and divide this by 4. And then that can tell me, that's going to help me fill in this table. And once you figure that out, it's easy. Because then whatever the cost is per jacket, now any amount of jackets, so if you want to figure out how much 3 costs, you just put 3 here. Times 3 times 3. Okay, so you're going to have 4 or 5 proportions on here, probably 5 proportions. Okay, when you go through this, you're going to have 5 different proportions here. Okay, now remember, my rule is you have to not only select which ones are true, but you have to prove why they're true or why they are not true. Because I'm able to check these throughout the week, so I'm not just going to give you credit for just circling 3 of them. That's not going to work because you can get checked 4 times and you can eventually figure out what the right answer is. So it doesn't work that way. You have to show your work, okay, with your proportions. All you got to do is figure out how much 1 is, and then you can figure out how much any other amount of jackets there are. Here, the first thing you should probably do, and this is chapter 5 also, we're heavy chapter 5 here, put your edge pieces, right? So we know there are 4 soup recipes, we know there are 8 chicken recipes, we know there are 3 bread recipes, and we know there are 5 dessert recipes, but then we also know how many total recipes there are, which is 12 4 plus 8 is 12, plus 3 is 15, plus 5 is 20. And then once you know that, this is a breeze, because it's all about order. That's all it is. Okay, and obviously you have an answer bank there too. Okay, here, pretty basic there. I know this grid's really, really hard to read. I apologize. Just do your best to try to look at it. I know it's not a very good copy, but just remember Superman runs before he flies, so, or you have to go to the right and left before you go up and down. Okay, here, this here is the distributive property, so just remember how you distribute a number through. So you do 3 times 10 is 30. 3 times 9 is 27. So you just have to select the right one, which is that one. Okay, so that's all you're doing on that one. Okay, this one is actually going to be bonus. So I'm not going to help you with this one. I want to see if anybody can do this. Okay, so I'm not going to help you throughout the week. We'll talk about it when we go over, but this will be a bonus point if you get it. Okay, so definitely try it, but I'm not going to check this one either. I'm just going to kind of see who can do it. All right. Alrighty, this last one, or last page here, we have 6 numbers shown. You just basically have to put these on the number line. Now, this is from a computer, like how you're taking the air on the computer this year. So basically on the computer when you do this, you can actually click on these and drag them where they go. But don't think it's overly difficult or anything. I mean, I think you guys can figure it out. I will tell you this, here's a little hint for you. You can have more than one number on the same spot. So some of these might be equal. They just might be different forms of each other. There's your hint, okay? That's why you got some of the arrows facing up. That's why you got some of them facing down, okay? And finally, the last page, Trinity has rectangular and circular candies in a jar as shown. She wants the ratio of I don't know if I said, did I say Kirk? I don't know what I said. Anyway, ratio of circular candies to rectangular candies to be 7 to 12. You need to figure out how many more you need to add to get circular candies to get a ratio of 7 to 12. Okay? So I don't think that one's overly hard either there. Okay? Hopefully this helped, guys. See you later.